It is our pleasure to be joined by one of the fan favorites for Oklahoma Sooners football. And now he is joining the staff in some new fancy role. I mean, what's going on, Caleb Kelly? What's up, man?
Well, I work here, and I mean that's it's kind of fun to say that. I keep saying it to everybody. They'll be like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I work here," all over. And so that when I'm going into workouts or walking around and checking on everybody, they're like, "Why are you always here?" I'm like, "I mean, this is what I do now." So it's been funny. I've had to explain myself so many times, talking about soul. What is soul and all this different stuff, and why are there four of you guys and all this. And so yeah, it's funny, but it's been, yeah, I don't know. I've been out here working though. I mean, all day at like 8 a.m. Well, today we started at 7:30, but 8 a.m. all the way to like 6. I mean, I'm over here, real big boy job. So yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, checking in the morning, getting a paycheck. That's awesome. You mentioned it, the soul. You're the director of Soul, Serve Our Uncommon Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new role. Tell people what's going on with that, kind of what your plan is, what you're in charge of, like what the goal is of that program.
Yeah. So the goal is, when coaches talk about having a man come out of a program, when you send your kid to school, it's kind of just done in behind the scenes, and it becomes like a secondary thing. Like, it'll happen naturally is what a lot of coaches say. But with BV and everything that he's about, it's the priority for him. And so, Serve Our Uncommon Legacy, we are creating the uncommon man, the man who gets a master's while he finishes his undergrad in Pat Fields, a man who gets an MBA like Jeremiah Hall, me having 3 degrees, that uncommon man who has successful on the field and off the field, because and I can live up to this and attest to this as best as anybody else. You never know when that last football snap is. Mine happened in the game. And so, I mean, you never know when that time is going to come. And if you prepare yourself, putting academics as a priority and putting life skills as a priority and career development as a priority, then you are creating a man that can go into the world and be successful. And you never know when that time comes. And so, and I know I've now said that 3 times, but it happened to me, and I kept getting hurt, and I was like, oh, no way it'll happen again. No way it'll happen again. But it happened again. And so I literally lived through it to where I tore my ACL again for the 3rd time. And I get up and I say, well, what's next? Like, there has to be something bigger for me. There has to be something next. And I had the opportunity to do that because of the degrees, because I lived the right way. I wasn't on any failing substance abuse tests or anything like that. I had the good rap. I did all the right things. And that's what we want to be the standard. We say best is the standard each day, because if you give your best every single day, by the time you're done, whether it's 3, 4, 5, even 6 years later, then you will have just all the opportunities there for you, and you can be successful whether it's on the field or not.
Caleb, I feel like, yeah, clearly your personal experiences that makes you uniquely qualified for this new role. But I feel like some people hear this and they're like, wait, can they develop these kids like as a whole person while also developing them into first round draft picks? And,
Right.
and I think it's clear that that's the goal, is to create great football players, but also great men. And I don't know. I just feel like that's really not messaging we hear as much as we used to, right? From head coaches in college. It's all about, hey, I'll get you drafted. I'll get you drafted. I know college coaches around the country still care about this, but it's interesting that BV is making this like his number one point.
Yeah. And how I said, where you want to create the man, and that's it. That's a quick pitch, like you're saying. Like, that's our main pitch, and that's BV's main pitch, and he's living up to it. And so I think that having that as the priority, it's kind of flipped, like, to where, oh, I'll get you first round, and what's expected is you'll become a better man through just the works of being in college. And now it's like, I'll get you. It's like the opposite with BV. It's like you'll become a first rounder because you're going to be a great man. And you'll have that instilled in you as I am a great man who does all the right things. And because you're doing all the right things, now you have the opportunity to go first round, to be an NFL player, because that work ethic and everything that is involved in being a good man, that is involved in handling your business. And if you can handle your business in every a part of your life, then the football part is just another part of your life. And he's like, the football is going to happen naturally. We're going to, of course, we're all here for football, and that's what brings us, but we're here to become a man as well. And if we are good men, then the football is just something that's going to come from it. It's just flipped, and it's different than everywhere. And so I don't know. It's so exciting to see, because it's literally what saved me. I feel like I didn't have to go into depression that so many people do when their career ends, and I didn't have to go and seek it counseling. And I myself, I did go to counseling, and like all that is available here, but I didn't feel like, oh, I needed to wake up the next day. It was like, I'm going to be okay because I've lived the right way. And so making it so that that's the standard for every single person, it can save lives, even to the point. And that's what your ultimate goal here is, to love people and to change lives. And if you're doing that, I don't know, the recruiting and everything that comes with it's just gonna happen naturally.
No, it's impressive. I like that. I think everywhere says that they want to develop the guys off the field, right? But I think it's awesome to see the actual resources being put in place, the staff being put in place, the follow through on that message, not just saying it to recruits and having a presentation. There's actually a lot of follow through there. What's it been like for you? It's tough. And I know a lot of guys don't define themselves as a football player. It's just something that you happen to do. But what's that transition been like? All of a sudden you're you still have obviously a close tie to the program, and you're going to be there every day, but not a football player anymore. Has that been weird?
Yeah, definitely. Not waking up for workouts has been kind of weird. Like, you get used to kind of sleeping.
Nice, right?
Yeah,
You don't have
kind
to
of
be
weird and
somewhere.
kind of amazing.
Yeah, it's like, I guess I'll go in at 8 tomorrow. Like, whereas like I got to wake up at 5:30. I got to make sure I have everything ready, all my clothes laid out, because I got to get there, and you have it timed out perfect to where if you even lay in bed for 5 minutes, like, you'll feel rushed. And so I don't know, it is different. And luckily though, I have felt like, because I did play with so many guys, I still feel like one of the guys sometimes, and I'll even be like, we have to do stuff, and I'm like, well, y'all have to do stuff. And so I don't know. It's a weird transition because it just happened so fast, and because I was on the team this year. But having the new guys and interacting with them, I just think it shows that I can have a lot of impact, and as a player or not. And so it's exciting, because that was the goal. Like, I want to be around and be able to help as many guys as I can and love on as many people as I can. And in this position, like being a GA and coaching, like, you get that opportunity, but you do have to focus on ball. Whereas here, my conversations are about life, and my conversations are about the person. And so it's definitely been weird though, because you see Schmitty and you're like, what you need me to do, big dog? Like, I'm ready to go. And then you got to be like, well, I'm ready to cheer you on and let you go. But me being hurt too, I can't run anyway. So it's like, whatever. It's kind of deal.
Yeah, still bouncing back from that ACL. Okay, so one of the interesting things is like the group you guys are putting together. So who all is part of this player development group, the S.O.U.L group that BV's put together? Like, how many guys, and have you gotten to know the guys well yet?
Yeah. So once they're all done, I think it's 5 positions. I think one is a lady that is going to do a lot of logistical things, and I don't think they've hired her yet. And then there's one more that I don't think we're allowed to announce yet, and so that's why nobody's heard it. So I'm not going to say his name, but he's pretty much like the administrative part of it, and so he helps with organizing, and he's a real kind of strict type A type of person, where like he wants everything to be one way and kind of real communicated. And he's a great dude. Once they announce it, it'll be easier to talk about, of course. So when you get Curtis on the show, you'll be able to drill him with the questions about him. But having Curtis Lofton around, that's a guy who helped me out while I was playing. 9 years in the league, an All-American. Some people thought he might have left too early, and just having that trouble going through that, but then going second round and having the success in the league, it's just carries over to the players when you're interacting with them, because he kind of lived what guys want to live. And so he has a lot of credibility that way. And then, he's done. He's went through the depression of being done with football, and he has a family. He built his house, and he's had success off the field as well. And so he's just a great guy. He's in charge of life skills, but he's just a great guy for the job. And then Joshua Norman has come back, and he's in charge of former player relations. And so it was funny, Kenny Steele's kind of put us all on blast or whatever. And so we actually talked to Kenny yesterday too. And so
like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, it was like, I was like, damn, you put us on blast first day on the job. Like, we ain't even really got up here yet. And so he's former players and community service. And so we'll have a service trip coming up, and he's heading that, and we all help each other out, and everything crosses over. We're like, you get a bunch of football players together, it's a team atmosphere, but we all are helping each other out in that. He's heading that. And then I'm in charge of internships for the guys, because with my MBA, we were required to get an internship. And so talking to a lot of businesses, I just have done that, and I have experience with that, and they'll help me out with that as well. And I'm the career development portion of that. And so that goes with getting the internships, having a career after football. And then, yeah, that's pretty much how it's kind of broken up. And then it's all kind of like a ministry position, to where we are allowed to speak about the Lord and share our faith and our personal experiences, but it's not required by the players or anything like that. And so we literally just get to sit here, do a lot of planning. I even said, like, we're kind of like glorified event planners somewhat, and making sure everybody's on what they're supposed to do. But the part where we get to interact with the players and help them get through things, and the fact that I just went through all of it, that's the part that really makes the job, the interaction with the players and the player development and being there for them and all of that.
Okay, we got plenty more with Caleb Kelly. But first, do you own a business? If you do, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. Insurica's clients become best-in-class businesses by working with Insurica's team of advisors to manage risk. Purchasing insurance is only one way to protect your business. Best-in-class businesses win by avoiding loss in the first place. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. I'm an Insurica client. Dang it. I'm an Insurica client, and you should be too. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com.
Guys, we got bad weather coming. That means it's time to stock up on hard seltzer. And there's only one hard seltzer that we drink on this podcast, and that is Sonic Hard Seltzer from Coop Ale Works. It's perfect for any occasion. We drink it in the hot tub, by the fire, and at the tailgate. You can buy 12 packs of the iconic Sonic drive-in flavors like cherry limeade and ocean water, or you can grab a citrus variety pack or a tropical variety pack. Find out your local grocery, convenience, and liquor stores. You've had you're in a unique spot. You know, you played for the last coach. You've been there for the transition, and now you're on the staff. So it's a really unique spot to be in. And I know you've probably been asked about Venables 1,000 times and what he's like and what you think of it. But what has that transition been like to see the last staff as a player, and now to see the new staff, and I guess all of the staff's not new, but Venables and who he's brought in? Just like, what is if you were to give an overall impression of of how you think the future is going to be for OU, what would you say?
Yeah, of course I'd say successful. Um, it's just demanded in their demeanor and all the new coaches' demeanor, but especially BV, the way they speak and the way they interact with the players. Love is something that you can openly say out here, and you might, and it doesn't make you weak or soft or anything like that. Now it's just so different. Like if you were to say like I love you prior, it would be okay and fine. Like Riley's group would, of course, be cool with that, but it might not be as comfortable as it is now. Like these guys are open to caring about people, and I just think with the fact that he's really caring about the guy, like they're starting their football talk. They're not recruiting anymore, and so now it's going to get into football, and so we'll be able to see what that's like. But I just feel like they're so tenured in their football aspect. It's like, yeah, we're gonna that's the back of our hand. Like that's just what we do. Like creating men, that's what we have to focus on. That's what we really need to make sure we're doing, because we all get lost in football and we all will do that. But if we're reminded over and over again that we have to focus on the man and focus on the player and developing him, then that's going to change our culture, and that's going to change our entire program from the ground up. Like it's building from the ground all the way up. By the time, I mean, I've even heard things like he might not even want transfers. Like this might be his only year to have transfers because he wants to develop from the ground up. He wants all his players to come in as freshmen and work their way up to know that system of getting or growing and working and going through maybe being a backup and trials and having all those things, even though you were a 5-star or a 4-star or whatever, and coming in and grinding and having all that. And so I just think in this year, I have no idea what it's going to be like, but I know already the culture is different. Like on the playing field, I think they're coming in with a scheme and all these coaches that know what the heck they're doing. And it just seems, I mean, when they talk about football, I'm sitting there like, wow, like I wish I played for them. Like I really do, just so I knew what they know. They've been all over the place, the league, all over the country at different places. And so just their wisdom with football, it's like when you hear them talk about it, it's like, okay, yeah, that's covered. That'll be covered no matter what. But when you hear about the passion about the man, it's like, wow, like they really care. Like we went to we had a mid-year dinner last night, and we're sitting there with guys, and we're just mingling, talking, and they really care about the player. Like they said they're going to do these things, and they're living it out already. And they've been on the road for the last 3 weeks, flying around and visiting all these places. And it's like, now we get to focus on our guys that we have here. And it's like, we're going to do that to the best of our ability.
Being there the last several years, like you were, I feel like everything that we are seeing publicly and the things you're hearing from recruits and even in the current players, like everything is overwhelmingly positive right now since Brent Venables took over. But you were part of, it was rough for those players when Lincoln Riley left, right? I mean, that's just not something we saw coming. Now that it's been a while, like what's the sense you get like within the locker room? Right, like how are guys enjoying that new culture? Because it does sound like it's different. Like, would you say the response from your former teammates, which is kind of weird to say now, but would you say it has been a positive response from those guys now that they've been around Brent Venables and this staff a little more?
Yeah, I don't think you can't feel embraced by the staff. So the way they interact with players, the way they are so open and loving is the word that keeps coming to my mind. You don't feel misplaced. You feel wanted. And so guys are there and they feel safe again. Like when you lose Lincoln Riley and he leaves, and it's kind of a shock to all of us as a player, you're like, wow, like I put my trust in this person, and now like what am I going to do? And so guys are coming up to me asking me, CK, what do I do? Do I go to SC? Do I stay here? Like what do I do? And every person was different, and every time I probably gave a different response. But I think with this staff, they are so welcoming and it's so genuine. Like I mean, as a football player, and you both know, you have to read through BS. You have to read through it all the time in recruiting, when you're talking to scouts, even when you're talking to fans, like you just have to read through the BS. And my BS meter is like these guys are good. Like, it's just like they're here. And so players are, and I mean, when you have Schmitty coming in and he's so consistent every single day, it's about work, it's about work, it's about work, not treating anybody different or anything like that. Players are sitting there like, man, I can dig this. Like, I know exactly where I stand. I know that these guys love me and care about me, even though they might not even really know me, and I feel safe here. It's like all I got to do now is work. I just got to do my part. And it's like everybody has their part, and all the players know, like, all I have to do right now is grind. I have to go work as hard as I can, and I will be successful. It's written. It's already written. And so I think that's the vibe I'm getting from all the players. They're just enjoying the work, enjoying being around each other, and enjoying how they can feel safe again.
And I'm hoping you're still doing TV. You told us the other night you're still going to be able to do TV and stuff with us. How'd that conversation go? Was that an issue at all, or no? Was Venables like, oh yeah, that'll be great?
He was like, as long as you don't give inside information, we're good. And I asked him one time, and he said we were good. And I said, okay, well then I'm not going to ask again.
That's right.
Smart man.
Yeah, I'm not asking again. I guess we're good.
But as far as the TV stuff, clearly, I mean, you want to have a little versatility to your post-playing career. There's no doubt about it. But I feel like you can be extremely valuable with us on the TV side, because you are going to be part of that staff and in the building, and you'll be able to bring that perspective. And maybe if something, is floating out there, you can maybe correct some things and, set some things straight. And I think that's important for the fan base to hear from a guy like you, who is actually going to be in the building every day.
Yeah. And that just reminds me of when Curtis Bolton and I were in competition at inside linebacker my junior year, and everybody was like, oh, Caleb's shoulder must be hurting and all this, trying to give me an excuse. And I was like, you guys, he flat out beat me. Like, it is what it is. And so it's just like, when you have that insider, and I've always kind of been that guy where I have no reason to lie to anybody. It's not going to help me for any reason. So, I mean, I will say though, I'm going to give the positive view as much as possible for each player. But if somebody messes up, I mean, if it's out there, it's out there. I can't protect everybody. But other than that, I just think I can give a good perspective, and we're getting to know these players one-on-one and player development. All of us guys, we are assigned players, but we can even pick other players. So I'm assigned a group, and I got to make sure they're good weekly. And so I have to give a report on them, on their life and everything. And so it's like, I'm going to know these guys like the back of my hand. Like, you say their name and I won't be sitting there thinking like, who is that? I'll be like, oh yeah, he has this, he's from here. And so it just gives real credibility when you're in their face every single day. And so I don't know. I don't want to stop hanging out with you guys. You guys were people I looked up to.
Hey, I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that, but hey, you can keep giving us more compliments.
Yeah.
But first,
concussions are a part of football. They don't have to be a part of your pool party. Nip the slip with Soft Rock's rubber safety surfacing and spend more time enjoying your outdoor parties and less time worrying about a slip and fall on your pool deck. Soft Rock of OKC specializes in customized slip-resistant decorative rubber surfacing for your pool decks, patios, walkways, and gym floors. Local business owners Heidi and Cody Clark at Soft Rock of OKC are ready to help you prevent that next slip. Visit softrock.com/OKC. That's SOFTROC.com/OKC for more information. The Clarks also own the Driveway Company. The Driveway Company has tailored solutions to eliminate all of your driveway problems. They can repair cracks, clean and seal your rotting grass-filled joints to prevent water damage, ultimately saving you thousands of dollars in future repairs. Visit thedrivewaycompany.com/OKC for all of your driveway repair needs. Learn more about Soft Rock and the Driveway Company by visiting their Facebook and Instagram pages or by calling 405-294-9834.
and make sure you send your kids to Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School. January 30th to February 5th is National Catholic Schools Week. And Bishop McGinnis wants you to note that they provide a level of educational and spiritual development that will set your children up for success in college and in life. Bishop McGinnis has kept their kids safely in classrooms, knowing that it is vital for their learning. I give McGinnis a ton of credit for preparing me to manage academics, social life, all while playing football at OU. It's a great place to send your kid. You can visit bmchs.org for more information. And just a reminder, financial aid is available.
Just talking about the TV stuff and, continuing to hone those other skills, and I think that's one of the great things about you is you had so many options of what you wanted to do. I don't want to get I know you just started, so I don't want to get ahead, but is this something, do you feel like you're going to end up being around football in some capacity like this, maybe forever, and maybe that's too long down the road, but how do you envision this going? Is this just maybe a short-term thing for you, a year or two, or is this maybe something that turns into a real career?
Yeah, I honestly, and this is personally how I've gone about everything. I felt like I was just walking by faith. Like every single time I came up here, BV happened to be here. It was like, hey, come meet with me real quick. And it was just unplanned things like that, to where I felt like I was called to do this. Like I was led to do this. I sat in there and I had gotten an offer from an insurance company that was talking big money, even more money than what I'm getting now. And it was
hey, if you want to work for an insurance company, you just call me, bud. Okay. Just call me.
And they were
we got a spot for you.
Right. And so it was I don't know. I just want to be around people, and I just leaving the locker room. I am leaving it faster than I thought I was, and so I just being around as much as I can and having every single door kind of open for me to do that. I was like, I'm not going to turn it down. To say how long I will do it, I don't know. I mean, it depends on how much I love it, starting out, I feel like I'll be really successful in it. I do have a lot of connections, especially in the Norman area. And so helping guys out, and whether it's getting internships or service trips, that I've gone on a service trip before. And so I do have a lot of connections, more that I've even kind of surprised myself with. But I personally said that I would be in the athletic director role one day, is what I had always said. And I even had told Josie that, and Zach Selman that. And I said, groom me into you. And they were thinking about opening or creating a position for me. And this one kind of opened up. And I was like, I'm going to do that first. If I end up going that way one day, then I do. And so a timeline on it, I have no idea. But I wanted to impact an entire school. I didn't want to just be stuck just solely to football players, because I did grow up where I grew up without a father, and I had my mom, my aunt, and my grandma. They were all single women who kind of ran the ship. And so I feel like my experience with just them and understanding women, I felt like I could help out in that area as well. Plus, I'm Black, representing Black community. There aren't too many athletic directors at big Power Fives that are Black. And so representing that community, and I have the education for it, I felt like that would be something unique. And so I just had always said I want to impact as many people as I can. I just want to serve people. And so this gave me the best opportunity to do that right now. And so I'm going to do this as long as it feels right, but I'm not going to be afraid to go somewhere else or move up in rankings or another position if it presents itself.
It sounds like this new role for you, it's going to give you a significant amount of fulfillment, just from helping men develop into better people. So that being said, you're still a football guy. Coaching, ever you think that's something you would ever want to do? Because I'm sure there's been plenty of OU fans that have tweeted you, right? We all saw the pictures from the bowl practices. Is that something you ever think, hey, you'd get that itch and maybe you'd want to do that? Or are you thinking more of hey, I want to be more influential? I don't even know if that's the best way to say it, but just not having to go through the grind of being a coach.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up without a dad again. And I had a stepdad, and we kind of had a weird relationship until I left for college. That's when we kind of got closer. And so I always wanted a family. I always wanted my own family, and I always wanted to be a dad. And so I know coaching, of course their kids love them. We get to interact with their kids all the time, but they spend more time with us than they do with their families. And so that's just something that I could never get over, because I was always like, that's something that's so important to me. I want to be a dad because I didn't have a dad. I've always said that. And so that's a big factor in the reason why I've said no to coaching immediately, because BV asked me 5 times. He asked me 5 times if I wanted to be GA. And every time I was like, no, I can't right now. No, I can't. I don't want to do that. But to say I never will, I'll never close the door all the way, never burn a bridge, is kind of like how you're supposed to. And so, I mean, I've coached my younger guys when I was hurt. I've helped out with coaches. I know how to maneuver film and do all of that. And we ran our own player meetings, and I ran team meetings every week as a captain. And so, I mean, I have the experience to do that. I feel like it's just a natural thing, and that's why fans are kind of saying it. But I don't know. I just don't have that drive to do the X's and O's and do all the long hours yet. And so I'm not going to rule it out all the way, but I just don't even see it for myself yet. And Chip Viney, he even said, yeah, I said that at first, but now look at me, like I just want to go back to coaching. And he's from Fresno too. And we've had the same coach. And so it's like, you don't want to be like Tony Perry, like how he helped us out. And I'm like, I mean, I don't want to say I don't want to be like him, but I just feel like I want to do it bigger. And I've had 5 different position coaches. So like, that's a lot of moving. That's a lot of movement. And I feel like if I'm the dude hiring people as an AD, then I might not have to move as much as somebody who it can get fired and do all that. I want to be the one up top hiring people.
Yeah, it's a real good perspective and a good position to be in for you right now. So as you wrap up your playing career and you're stepping into the new role, when you look back, favorite moments, favorite games, favorite accomplishments, just things that you're real proud of as a player.
Yeah, I think off the field, of course, getting degrees, that was a huge accomplishment, a promise to my mom. And so I did that faster than a lot of people do. In 3 years, in 4 years, I had a master's. And then in 5.5 years, I had 2 masters. And the MBA just really holds a lot of weight in the business world as well. And so I felt really successful that way. But I'll tell you, like, the thing that always pops up in my head is when Miguel Edwards, a guy who I think he's at Western Kentucky now, and he transferred, but I just kept getting hurt, and he kept on coming up to me, and he was kind of a quiet guy, but also kind of a wild guy too, to where like he would dance and do all that. But speaking wise, you had to get on his good side to really have him open up. And he would walk up to me so many times to be like, how are you still smiling? Like, how are you still happy? Like you keep getting hurt, and there's people playing in your position. You're supposed to be starting, and like you're the first one dapping them up, and you're the first one, like you're coaching them and helping them be better or do what you want to do. And I was like, honestly, I just love people. Like, it's just that way. And so having moments like that where like that's what meant so much to me. And that's what kind of made me want to do something like this and gave me the idea at first. But on the field, I love scoring touchdowns and making turnovers. Like, that was my thing. Like, tackling, my tackle numbers were all right. Like, they weren't on your status. Like, I know it is. Like, it is what it is. But turning overs or making turnovers happen and turning over the ball, like, I wish I had way more interceptions. I know I had like 5 or 6 forced fumbles or something. Wish I had way more of those. And I wish I had way more touchdowns, just because I did love those moments where you're like, that's a freak play. Like a West Virginia, like, that doesn't happen often. Like, I love those unique plays and those huge plays that change the game, and a Texas where it's tied up and now we're about to go win this thing, and we were down 21 points. And so looking back on all those turnovers I made, like, that's what I hope I'm remembered as. Like, he was just a turnover machine.
Okay. So we do this thing called Call Your Shot, where we get feedback from our listeners, and we put something out there and told them to send us questions that they wanted to ask you. So
Okay.
this goes to the best moments, like your favorite moment. This comes from Blaine Brown on Twitter. Here are your options. He says, Caleb, favorite OU play you ever made? Okay. First option, 2017 strip/score versus TCU in the Big 12 championship game. 2017 forced fumble in the Rose Bowl. 2018 strip and score at West Virginia. And then the 2021 kickoff return strip versus Texas in probably the wildest comeback I've ever seen. So those are your 4 options. Which one you got to pick one?
If I, it's hard because, well, we didn't win the Rose Bowl one, so I know that one's out because that was a heartbreak right there. I literally got up and I ran from end zone to end zone because my family was in the opposite end zone. And so I'm running the entire field like a whole 100-yard dash, Schmitty built like this, like we going to the ship. And so I thought that was going to be like a game-saving play too, kind of like the Texas deal. But the TCU one, that was cool because I think that was my first time scoring in front of my mom in a few years, and she was actually at the game, so that was cool. But I don't know if that's my favorite. It's between West V and Texas for sure. I think it's just hard. West V is my most athletic play. Like it's the most, like the best, I guess, football play. But my favorite is the Texas just because after 2 ACLs and a shoulder and all that, coming back and being a backup when I'm a 6-year senior and just swallowing my pride every single day to go out on special teams with Coach Odom, where I never got to play for him because I kept getting hurt. And then he ran kickoff last year. And so having that moment with him to where it was like, I got to make that play on your unit and being a selfless player, a 6-year senior that's a captain on kickoff and making a play against a dude from Fresno, it was just like storybook stuff. And so I think I'll give it that one because it's my last year, and it was just a huge play that helped us out and gave us a chance to get to the Big 12. So yeah.
That's my favorite play, and I've never seen a play of that size to where the crowd was like, yeah, tackle inside the 20. Oh, it was like there's this delayed reaction. It was so cool watching that unfold. That was an awesome play, man.
Thank you. No, yeah,
it was yeah, it definitely was. But we got another one. This comes from Brett Crawford. He says, biggest culture shock when you moved from California to Oklahoma.
I still don't have cowboy boots. That's a big culture shock for real. But then people let you in. Like if you're driving and like if you drive aggressive, like people would be like, I got you, and like they'll let you in. But if you do that in Cali, it's like you're gonna have to hit me if you want to get in. So like, that was the first huge culture shock. That and the trucks out here, like they're lifted. I don't know. I like the trucks, and so I myself want a truck, and so that was one thing that shocked me. I thought I was going to want something fast, but no, I want a truck now. Like I'm an Oklahoma man, got to be able to move something in the back if I got to go do something. And so those 3: the boots, the letting people in the car, and a truck.
Yeah, it's different. We consider traffic here whenever there's like 5 cars at a stoplight, right? That's
it's like, what is happening?
Yeah, that's traffic in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
All right, Ted, you got anything else for Caleb?
Man, I don't. I'm just happy for you, man. I'm proud of what you've become, watching you grow and still being around the program. I think it's awesome. You're killing it, man.
Thank you.
Well, this is the first of what I'll go ahead and say many appearances for you on the podcast, but man, really excited for you. Excited to see what you make of this new role, and this entire fan base loves you. We love you. Thanks for taking the time to join us, man.
Man, thank you. Love you guys too. Boomer Sooner.